It's another consignment of delightful junk from AliExpress. Let's explore. I've taken out the bag in advance just to save a bit of time. So we'll start off with this bag. And it's interesting to note that this order has beaten an earlier order to get here. I think the reason for that may be because the other one contains aroma oils and they've probably been held up in customs. So this is very similar. This is one of the single-ended filaments, but the last one I got was white because I wanted to see the construction, and the blue one, should I say the last one I got was blue, because the construction of the blue one just has a clear gel and you can see through it. So let me just hook this up and I'll demonstrate it. And here it is. It will probably flicker a bit because it's hard to get the connection onto the end. It really does need soldered wire. So I've got these clips here, so it's going to be all over the place. But anyway, here it is. Let me see if I can get a better connection. And the illumination in the front is similar to the back. It's not too bad. It's flickering wildly at the moment just because of the poor connection. I don't want to put too much stress in these because they are very, very delicate little micro-thin PCBs. So I shall solder some leads onto that at some point to test it properly. But the gist is, it's an LED filament that you can just cut to length. It is just single-ended. Quite interesting material. And it does appear that the diffusion of light from side to side in this version, unlike the blue version which had no phosphor and was clear, this one has the phosphor on the other side and it does seem to bounce the light around inside and actually make it more three-dimensional. Okay, what's this? 7-colour solar flashing warning light. I think this was another one of these sort of car pretend alarm things. It does have a decent solar panel. Look at that. Oh, it's got a button. Oh, this will require the dark to actually activate, assuming it does work. Does it have any other means of charging it? No, it doesn't. This is very gelatinous in the back. It's been potted in with waterproofing compound. Right, tell you what, I'm going to turn the lights off and see if this does anything. It does. It seems to have various effects, and I think you can step through them with the button. So that's off. That's pretend I'm a police car, right? That's excellent. So there we have it. That's what it does. Watch your eyes, the light is coming back. We can open this in a future video. I tell you what's odd though. The solar panel looks strange. It looks very segmented. And there is a little lithium battery just stuck under there. That will be interesting to explore later. Right, I shall put this out the way. Oh, it comes with a sticky pad for the back. They have tried to seal it in, so it is designed for external use, which would be common sense given it is solar, but they've got this gel on the back. Interesting. I shall put that out the way. Next, oh, I know what this is. This is the building blocks. Someone sent me a link to the Lego portaloo with a turd in it, which I thought was quite funny. I say Lego, it's not real Lego, but it is basically, it's a portaloo. I'm not going to build that up now because there's not a huge number of pieces. I could build that up now, couldn't I? 1 moment, please. It is complete. It's a long time since I've built anything out of Lego. It was a popular toy when I was a kid. Much more complex systems these days, and inside, if we take a look, I shall zoom down this and provide a little bit of extra illumination. We have the toilet roll. We have a green, is that the flush button? Not really sure. Oh, it is. It's the pump flush button, presumably. And then we have the bowl with a large turd in it. Excellent. It looks pretty good, I have to say. It's quite a stylish little thing with a proper closing door and all that. And it went together very well. So, yeah, that's quite nice. Okay, let's zoom back out again. Now we have looked at the portaloo from Lego. It's just got different names. Porta potty in other countries. This thing is a water level detector. The reason I got it is I wanted to see, does it use AC sensing of the water level? So I see a little 8-bit microcontroller, well, an 8-pin microcontroller probably. Is it? It might just be an LM358, but I think it's going to be, it's not marked, so that means it probably is a microcontroller. Incoming supply, there's the rectifier, there's a regulator by the look of it. Protection down for the relay, where's the transistor for the relay? These transistors look as though they are for switching the sense input. And I see capacitors there as well. That could just be for filtering, or it could be to allow AC to pass, because if you use DC to detect water level with electrodes, it causes rapid electrode corrosion and affects the... You end up with something a bit like a battery, really, and it causes issues with water sensing over the long time. But if you do it with AC, with the capacitor in series, the charge, it doesn't result in the corrosion of the electrodes, and because they're seeing an equal polarity. So this will be interesting to explore and test. Excellent. What's next? A toilet steriliser. Where's a knife? This one looks as though it might have UVC LEDs. I can test that. Is it going to be battery operated? Is it going to be rechargeable? Oh, tricky to open. This seems to cater to the Japanese obsession of having things that sterilise your toilet. It looks as though it's rechargeable. Button. Just press and hold the button. Or does it detect? It's got a tilt switch in it, hasn't it? That's going to make it hard to test. We'll tell you what then. What if I tilt it down the way? I think this may need charged first. I've got a UVC meter. One moment, please. Okay, so if you press and hold it, white LED, sometimes it's kind of working right. Okay, the LEDs, I initially thought they were the little gold UVC LEDs. If I tip it upside down, see that bright glow, see the UVC meter, nothing, zilch. There is no UVC coming out of that. I don't even think it's proper ultraviolet LEDs. I think that's just pink phosphor over blue LEDs, but I could be wrong. They might be violet LEDs. I'm just trying to look at them here. It's very hard to tell because it only works if tipped upside down. When you close the lid and it sterilises, but it is just, once again, theatre. It's fake. It's fake. It's that looks like it's UVC sterilisation, but in reality it's not. Let's that turns that off. Excellent. But I shall explore that later. We can always open it up and see what's inside, which still makes it a worthy video. Let's slip this back in here. Boo. Darn. The listing did look like the little gold ultraviolet UVC LEDs. Oh well. What a surprise. Right, what's next? T1025 2 SMD cob glass shell. So these are probably LED bulbs, but an interesting style of LED bulbs for vehicles. Come in their own extra little bag. And if I open that up, here they are. Oh, they're glass. They are glass with the little ceramic cob inside that has the LEDs applied, and then it's been dipped in the gooey, the phosphor gel. Let's try this. Let's get the power supply on. Select roughly 12 volts. Put this on here. This might not light. It might be polarized. It is polarized. Nothing happens. Turn it round the other way and connect it up. And there it is. Now let's nudge that up to about 12 volts. 26 milliamps. It's strangely green looking. Oh, it's much brighter on one side than the other. So the LEDs are only on one side and it's relying on it bouncing through the ceramic substrate. Lovely. Excellent. And also, not making a super duper connection, but I wonder if these have any application in game buttons, because it's quite slim. Do I have a button near here? One moment, please. One bag of arcade buttons. Let's choose the white one. And we'll unclip the thing. This is the one they usually come with. It's literally a straw hat LED and a resistor inside. It's a bit crap. Let's connect this, push this bulb into here. It should fit. It may fit. Let's get the leads onto this, see if we've got the right polarity. Wrong polarity. Right polarity. Shove it in. and see, not bad. Not bad illumination of the button. It does have that slight divide between the two, the emitting side and the non-emitting side, but it's not bad. Let's try it in a coloured button. So I can leave this same base on here, because these are mostly compatible. I'm making a bad connection here. It's flickering and off. These clips, they're actually too big, these crocodile clips, because it's so easy to not grip properly. Alligator clips if you're in America. Here's this cover. Not bad. Can you see that slight divide in illumination here? That one side is just slightly brighter than the other, but it's not bad at all. These could be quite useful for arcade buttons because they get a very similar profile to the original glass ones. Okay, that's that resolved. Could we see it in the purple one? Yes, you can. Because some of you want to see it in the purple one, because purple is a desirable colour. Let's get this round the right way. If it is compatible, this one might not be compatible. I think it is. It's kind of washed out lilac, but it's still very acceptable. Excellent. So I'll whip my light bulb back out again. I'll just pop these in loosely in this bag. Got triangular buttons and rectangular. These things have to be ordered, these buttons, from prominent suppliers like Suzo, Hap, and I'm trying to think what was the other big, huge supplier in the UK, whose name doesn't come to mind because they've not been around in ages, I don't think. Ruffler and Death, was it? Anyway, I used to get stuff like this, and you bought them individually in the heyday of the arcade industry. They weren't hugely expensive, but now they are so cheap because, of course, home arcade machines are popular. And everybody wants all the illuminated buttons. Rightio, let me stick that one back in here. We might actually open one of these. I've lost one of them already. There it is. Might open one of these and scrape the ceramic off and take a wee look. Do you know what I didn't check? That's strange. There is almost like a little central chip in there. It is. Is that 4 LED chip? And is it just... Hold on. Let's test this. And then I'll show you what I mean by this, about the 4 LED chip. So if I turn the voltage down until it starts petering out... Oh no, that's a rectifier. And the LEDs are below it. Is it a rectifier? No, it must be a resistor. And there's 4 LEDs visible on that side. None visible on the other side. Are those 4 LEDs? What is that? That is strange. I don't know what that is. Let me try and give you a close-up of this. See this a square thing above it? And then you get the 4 LEDs down below. I don't know what that is. That's interesting because certainly the voltage, the intensity is falling off dramatically at 9.9, say 10 volts. So that suggests it's just 4 LEDs in series. So what else would that thing be for? Don't know. No current passes when it's connected around the other way. Anyway, right, let's not get too hung up on this. Let's explore the other things. This thing here is the most expensive thing. And it's kind of interesting. But that's kind of, we'll take a look at that last because it's a big thing. Right, in fact I could put it out of the way at the moment. Don't worry, it's coming back. It is for hotels. I do like this. This is very, very silly. That's very, very silly indeed. This is inspired by the recent teardown of the Chinese firecracker unit. It's one of the high voltage modules. I wanted to see what happens with these if you turn the current down. Now, if you've got these things, it's super important that you do not separate, don't power it up until you've got the leads locked at a distance of at most 20 millimeters, preferably 15 millimeters, because if you just power this up with them open and then try and do this, you're potentially going to, the insulation's going to break through and you're going to get an electric shock, good zap off this. But also, At that point in time, the open circuit voltage can theoretically go up to 50,000 volts or more, and it destroys the circuitry inside. You have to have the electrodes very close to before you actually power this up. So let's do that. This is going to get noisy. Okay, I've set the electrodes at a suitable distance. I believe this is the type that holds a charge. Let me find a screwdriver to poke across that because I've just turned it on. So it's not holding a charge. Good. Ignore what this says on it. 400 kV, 1000 kV. It's a load of nonsense. The distance, rough, this is a very rough calculation, but a good indication is 1 millimeter per kV, maximum 15 millimeters apart for these, I'd say, and that's going to be about 15 kV tops, but I'd recommend keep it down to 10 kV. I'm going to connect this up and it's going to start sparking. That is drawing an amp at 1.6 volts. What if I turn the voltage down? .5 volts, it starts doing that, and if I turn it up, way up, it starts current limiting. I've set this to an amp. Okay, so technically speaking, I'm going to short those out. Oh, bit ozone. Technically speaking, this will run at about 1.5 volts for a low speed. I was thinking in the terms of the Chinese firecracker emulator, where you can make it fire sort of randomly, but I think in their instance they were just pulsing it on and off randomly to get those random distance between the arc over and the loud crack noises. So there we go. Treat these carefully and they'll work for you well. If you abuse them, as I say, by keeping the outputs too far open, the voltage multiplier inside, because these are basically a little oscillator that steps up the voltage to a higher level, and then they've got a electro boom style Walton Cockcroft multiplier in there with the high voltage ceramic capacitors and long diodes, and to protect those from damage, just make sure those electrodes are close together, because if not, it would blow the other components and output, and it destroys the unit. Excellent. Well, not excellent. Many people have done that and left complaints saying, I got this and it doesn't work, and you just know that they blew it up. I think the primary purpose of these is as electric ignition coils. Here is an odd thing. Let's put this power supply cables out of the way. Here's an odd thing. Pimples and things are apparently an issue in Asian countries, and these dressings, they describe them as hydrocolloidal dressings, and you get lots of them. Now, if you go to the local supermarket and look for a hydrocolloidal dressing, it's basically a gel, and it's designed to be put over things like blisters and things to protect them if the skin's going to be broken, but they also absorb the moisture. In the case of the pimple ones, I guess that's these are for, you put them over pimples and they absorb pus. I'm not really sure. Hold on, let me get one of these ones. Peel it off. And yeah, it's just literally, it feels like a gel. Let's stick it across the back of the hand. And sticks on. And it is a gel, I guess. It's just going to absorb moisture then. I'm not really sure. I may test that out at some point. Oh, very sticky, yes. Interesting. Yes, worth exploring, because as I say, if you get these hydrocolloidal dressings in the UK, the prominent brands sell you 5 for £3 or something like that. And these just seem to be a common thing, like many of the things. Everything gets made in China. So much stuff. I mean, obviously they need sticky plaster in China because they have a construction industry. Right, what's next? Oh, yes, love this one. Blue digital parking timer disc. This appears to be German. Well, I mean, it's made in China, but it's aimed, I think it had German text on it. I don't think it would work here because we have different ones, but in the UK, well, on the Isle of Man, we have things called parking discs, and you set the time of arrival, and then you put it up in your window and they can tell what time, and if you've parked for too long, and then they can stick a fine on your screen. So what this one does, it is a clock movement in the back. Let me go and grab a suitable cell. Okay, the battery's in. Let's see if you can hear this. So now when you put this in your window at any time, you only arrived 15 minutes ago, because theoretically this thing is just going to keep whatever time you set, and it's going to self-increment over time. So it looks as though you just arrived recently. But what's this stop and run thing for? Don't know what that's for. You wouldn't think you need it. You'd think you just set it to roughly the time you arrived, and then it's going to keep that forever if you kept it in storage. But that's quite amusing. Yeah. I wonder if it can be adapted to the Isle of Man ones. That would be quite entertaining. Okay, right. Next item is the... I've looked at that, is the large box. I'll just bring that up. Okay, we're on to the diffuser now. So, this week I discovered that, or when I ordered this, I discovered that the hotel industry uses signature aromas. So, say for instance the Hilton or Best Western or whatever, when you go into them, they have machines that are pumping out an aroma specific to the region and that hotel brand. And this is one of those machines. It's got a USB port on the side for powering it. It's got this one for sticking onto the wall so you can hang it to the wall. That or goodbye wallpaper. And yeah, I do have wallpaper here. People, when I mention wallpaper, people say, who has wallpaper? We just paint our walls. Wallpaper is still popular in the UK for some reason. I'm not a huge fan of details like that, but it is what it is. There's a little key here to stop people stealing the aroma. Oh, it takes D cells as well as powering from USB, and it has the, you can set a sort of a calendar, so to speak, and here is the aroma unit. Note the little port at the back. I'm pretty sure this is a nebulizer. Am I going to destroy this in the process of finding this out? But the oil that you put in, let's see what we can see in here. It goes into this container. How does this come off? I don't want to break it. Oh, there it goes. It kind of unscrews, and there is the feed. Oh, I'm going to have to break this. I'm going to break this to open it. Oh, no. Hold on. Let's open this right now then. Before I've tried it, that's just terrible. What's the bet that bits that are important fall out when I open it? What have I got here? I've got a little screwdriver that I can pop the lid off this. Is it serviceable? Should I zoom down this so you can actually see what I'm doing? Yes. Yes, I should. So it's quite good that you can take these out. I'm using the wrong size of screwdriver as ever. I wish they'd just standardise on one standard screw like this. There it is. So it looks, is that ceramic or plastic? That is the nebulizer. So here's the principle. Let me draw you the principle of a nebulizer. Let me draw you that right now, and I'll just shove this out the way, grab the notepad, which is convenient to hand, with the last circuit on it, which was the, a Chinese firecracker thing. So let me get this little anti-blot thing that goes underneath for when my inky pen leaves big dots in the paper underneath. And I'll draw you a quick description of a nebulizer. I'll just pause while I focus on this. So a nebulizer works like this. You have an airflow going through a narrow orifice, and you also have a dip tube going down to the bottom of the oil tank. And as the air blows across that, it causes the Venturi effect that pulls the oil up. And at that point, the oil gets atomized into tiny droplets, but some of them are too big to be useful. It would just make a huge mess. So what it does is, because it's got a very low airflow through it, the heavy droplets sink down the way, and they should have a return. They do. There's the return port there. Any that are too big go back down into the bottle down here, but the ones that are super fine, enough to be carried out by that very light breeze, get wafted out through a port. And I think by the look of it, there is a secondary air port here that has a stronger airflow just to diffuse that oil out into the air. That's how they work. I'm surprised at how modular and serviceable this one is. There's a little Venturi thing down there. Look at that. That is interesting, just moulded out of plastic. Kind of want to pull it out, but you know, I will end up breaking it if I do that. Fascinating. Yeah, very interesting. Right, anyway, I'm going to find something to put into this and then we'll blow some aroma oil out. 1 moment, please. Okay, I've made a suitable oil with an essential oil blend plus a carrier oil just to pack it up a bit. I noticed, I thought there was a bug stuck up the end of this, but they've actually pushed a bit of gauze up it to act as a filter. And it's interesting to note that when you screw this on, it has a physical stop that once it's done a certain number of turns, as you tighten up, it hits that stop and it just aligns it perfectly so it is facing forward. Let's open this up. Pop this in. And I do have D cells actually. I could try the D cells. They're old D cells. I'm not sure if they'll have much energy left in them. I'll just go and see if I can find them. Failing that, I'll rig it up with the USB. Okay, I've got a set of industrial Duracell batteries in. And you can set the start time and you can set the finish time. You can set the cycle. Say you wanted to run for 10 seconds, putting the aroma out and then rest for up to 10 minutes. So you can just regulate the ratio of aroma and it's currently active. So I'm just going to close this down. And this is where I have to try and catch it because it can't do continuous aroma, which is probably a good thing. So I'll adjust the camera up to about here and take a light off and we'll see if we can get this to, I'll just pause while I wait for it to do its thing. And there it goes. It has a little blue light, but I can also put this light across here to show it's putting out a fair cloud of atomized oil. And it does that every so often, then stops and pauses to allow the aroma to diffuse into the air. Very interesting. The place is absolutely stinking of that blend, which is the Four Thieves oil blend. Very aromatic. Okay, watch your eyes. It's about to get bright. So that is it. Now, I do have aromas on order that claim to be based on the hotel aromas, including Hilton, but they don't call it Hilton, they call it Hilton. So it's not actually Hilton. And their description of the aroma is different to the one that's given by professional aroma sites, which basically describe, they sell emulant oils of the hotel smells. And some people left comments saying, this is amazing, my house smells just like a hotel now. And I'm not really convinced that's a great thing. Having worked in hotels doing electrical maintenance and stuff like that, they're not, to me, a glamorous environment. But I know there is an image of prosperity associated with them that some people consider a luxury. This thing is probably about to start again. But there we have it. An interesting look. This one definitely deserves further investigation. It can be run off the batteries or it could be run off USB by the look of it. So an interesting device. There's other versions of these that you program them via Bluetooth, so you can program in much more detail. I don't know if this one has a Bluetooth. I mean, I could look on my phone right now. No device is found. Oh, it's creating a aroma at the moment. I scanned it with Bluetooth. No device is found. Tried it with the USB. No. Having said that, there are various versions. I didn't want the Bluetooth one. I wanted one with the actual programming interface inside that means that other people just can't connect it and change the settings with their phone. For reference, the manual does have the pairing data. And the code number is that's the pairing download aroma link app. Default password is 1234 apparently. So if you see one of these, you may be able to take control over the aroma, maybe reduce it, increase it, whatever you want. But there we have it, an interesting device, all interesting stuff and worthy of further exploration.